Alex Sobel.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. We were told that we were going to take back control. We were going to ensure our sovereignty. To do that, we must be allowed a say on the rules and standards over which we are governed, to be rule makers and not rule takers. These are phrases we heard many times over the last few years. And these amendments coming back from the Lords today will do precisely that and give our sovereign Parliament a say over any trade agreements made by the Executive. When we were members of the European Union, our MEPs had on any trade deal negotiated a guaranteed debate in the European Parliament and a guaranteed vote in the European Parliament. The trade deal wasn't deemed acceptable, it could be rejected. Why would we now accept a lesser say in this Parliament? Our constituents expect representation. And it's not just in Europe, but in Japan and the United States, they have higher standards. I welcome President Biden's inauguration tomorrow, and that he'll be working with a new Senate and a new House, and that the new Congress will enjoy scrutiny over their trade deals, that without these amendments we will not. Before negotiations, Congress can see and vote on general objectives, which are then published for public consultation. Once negotiations are complete, the agreement must then be ratified by Congress. Why would we hold ourselves to a lesser standard than that? And I know these principles have wide crossbench and public support, including from the NFU, the RSPCA, Greenie UK, the CBI, Which, etc., to pass Lord Amendments 1. But that is not the only amendment in front of us today. 500,000 people have signed a petition calling the government to protect our food standards and law. Lord Amendment 6 states the Minister of the Crown ensures as far as possible that future trade agreement is consistent with UK level of statutory protection for food standards, as well as animal welfare, employment and welfare standards and environmental protections. If this year has taught us anything, it's that we need to ensure that we don't have a race to the bottom, that we keep our qualities and standards. And we cannot leave the quality of our food on the table in any trade negotiation. As well as this, we need robust TAC that effectively protects public health, the environment and ensures the future of our farming communities. As President COP26, one of the weapons in our armoury for a binding agreement are trade deals. And we wouldn't want to have trade pulling one way and diplomacy another. Finally, Mr Deputy Speaker, coming to Lord Amendments 2 and 3 and the many excellent speeches around this chamber already on human rights and democracy. We have a responsibility to people across the globe who are suffering tyranny and genocide. While others have mentioned the impact in this amendment will have on racial suffering of the Uyghurs, these amendments would also be a powerful tool in challenging China's actions in Hong Kong, as well as human rights abuses covered by several other countries, such as Egypt, and my honourable friend from East and South of Finsbury made an excellent speech about Cameroon and the suppression of the Anglophile peoples in Cameroon, where we've signed a trade agreement which we have not yet seen, which is quite unbelievable. But with future trade negotiations with Indonesia and the Department of Trade, the Minister's Department met with the Indonesians in November for future trade discussions, must take into account the horrific human rights abuses in West Papua, which many universities have classified as genocide. And we just need to look at the current beating and intimidation of voters and opposition politicians in Uganda to know that there are situations emerging around the world which are important to consider in future trade negotiations. There's not time to cover in detail all the amendments that I'll be voting for, as I know many others wish to speak, and time is limited. But I say this is a defining moment in our history. The Brexit referendum in 2016 was divisive, but no one voted to lessen our standards and safeguards. No one voted to dilute our democracy. We need to pass these laws amendments so we continue to be a beacon of light and hope across the world, championing the human rights of all people. Thank you.